Welcome to Wednesday, December 28th, 2022. Your day weather podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com or on their Facebook page. Also brought to you by WYDOT. When there's ice and snow, take it slow. Sign up today for the Wyoming Travel Authorization Program. Lots to talk about. The Pacific is just throwing out a lot right now, and this is going to keep the weather pattern pretty busy, especially in parts of the Colorado Front Range tonight, and then this weekend across portions of Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado, as these Pacific systems are just lined up, as we showed you yesterday, across the Pacific. Now, there's a slug of Pacific moisture, a small area, that's going to come through Colorado's mountains today, and by late afternoon and evening and overnight, mountain snow will then translate into some Front Range Colorado snow and out on the eastern plains of Colorado. This is one of these systems that isn't really big, but the Colorado Front Range, Fort Collins, Boulder to Denver, down into Colorado Springs, and along the Palmer Divide there, along Interstate 70, we're going to have a bit of a snow event this evening and overnight. So folks in Colorado, keep that in mind. It's a narrow band, but it's a band nonetheless that's got a lot of Pacific moisture with it. A lot of water content in the air, and that's typical with these Pacific systems like this. As this pipeline of moisture will continue after this wave goes through tonight, just moisture, just plain old energy and moisture coming off the west coast into the Rockies will continue to bring occasional mountain snow shower activity, a few snow showers on the plains. Then we've got a larger, more organized system that's coming our way in the Sunday-Monday time frame. Now, this system is looking like the Sunday-Monday time frame. It'll be a larger, slower-moving system that could bring some travel impacts Sunday and Monday, especially southern and central Wyoming, as well as into parts of Colorado, Nebraska, and maybe South Dakota. So this system, this weekend, is going to be potentially a problem for holiday travel in that Sunday-Monday time frame all across the western United States. So stay tuned and stay on your toes. It's going to be an active weather pattern. When you get a lot of this Pacific moisture coming in, we tend to get these large clouds that kind of take on a wave form. This is a great shot from Richard Patton up by Lovell from yesterday. These clouds, we talk about lenticular or wave clouds that form in the wave function that forms from the wind crossing the mountains. And this is a shot yesterday, which is a good example where you get these long stretches of high and mid-level clouds from this Pacific moisture, and they take on a little bit of a wave shape as the mountain waves form. And here's that satellite photo. We'll be showing you this a lot here. We continue to see the pipeline of moisture across the Pacific coming on through. The system up here over the Aleutians, this is the Sunday-Monday system that's going to be impacting us. Right now, it's just going to be a fetch of Pacific moisture moving on in. And you can see that Pacific moisture is kind of moving out of California temporarily into Arizona, then into the central and southern Rockies today. And there you can see it on the 500 millibar chart. Not a really organized system, but just a slug of colder, moist Pacific air coming on through. And this will continue to bring snow to the high country. Now, by Friday, let's say like late Thursday and Friday, this is actually for 5 p.m. tomorrow. As you take a look at the wave going across Nebraska into the Midwest, we can see a more westerly flow queuing up. There's the low up here in the Aleutians. That's going to be the weather maker later on. But we've got this other little low. So the flow of moisture and energy will just keep on coming. This will keep temperatures still on the relatively mild side of things, and it will still cause periods of gusty winds in some areas. We had a lot of wind yesterday in central Wyoming in this pattern, and you're going to have bouts of wind in this pattern as well. This is the precipitation forecast over the next 48 hours. It's this area right here that is going to be possibly a problem later on today and into tonight, tomorrow morning. As this wave comes across, there's going to be this area of snow across Colorado's mountains in the Front Range of Colorado, then stretching out into southwest, central, and northeastern areas of Nebraska. And then you can see the flow of moisture just continuing to come on into the west coast. So you can see we've got this potential area of problems for the Colorado Front Range and Eastern Plains. This is mainly this evening, overnight, and into the morning hours of Thursday. Then it's going to head off to the northeast across Nebraska, where elsewhere there really won't be much going on. And then if we take a little bit of a closer look, you can see it's right along the Front Range and foothill areas here, then out on the divide. Now, with the warmer temperatures, it's going to be a rain-snow shower mix at first, then turning over to a wet snow. So something for Colorado folks to keep an eye on. Then you can see the high country of Colorado getting more snowfall. Then this westerly to easterly flow, this is for about noon Saturday. A west to east flow from the Pacific into the Rockies will just continue to feed moisture into the high country. So there's just going to be more mountain snow, more rain across the west coast. That Pacific moisture flow with that green arrow just getting shoved into the region. And this is the precipitation that falls from basically Thursday through Saturday late afternoon and evening. So you can see the mountains get another slug. This is not the same map I just showed you. This is a new map showing the next round of moisture coming into central and northern California, into the Pacific Northwest, and into the northern Rockies. Still some showers down into Arizona, New Mexico, and Old Mexico there. This moisture flow will just keep the snow going off and on up into the high country. Then the low jumps the divide, and as we showed you yesterday, the potential for a low in southeastern Colorado, southwest Kansas, the Panhandle areas, is showing up again, and we're starting to get some pretty good model agreement. Now, keep in mind, the winds around a low go counterclockwise. Now, lately, the storms have been tracking a little bit more here, then going up into here, then going this way. Well, this low is showing a trend of going more south, and this is important because if the low goes more south, the upslope winds are more impactful for southern Wyoming and the Front Range of Colorado, central Wyoming as well, and western Nebraska, as opposed to the storms going a little bit more north. We talk about those downsloping winds when the lows go more north for some areas. Well, the southerly low track does offer up, and here's the low pressure forecasted by 5 p.m. Sunday to be forming near Pueblo. So these lines are lines of equal pressure or barometric pressure like you'd have at home. So you'd have a high up here, and the clockwise wind flow around the high goes like this. The counterclockwise rotation around the low near Pueblo is like this. So what happens is this is an upslope pattern now for central and northern Colorado, central and southern Wyoming, instead of a downslope pattern like the last couple of storms. So the point here is the heavier snow is going to take a track further south into the areas that have kind of really honestly been missing out on the more significant snowfall lately. And this is the end result. You can see the flow of moisture coming in here from the east, upslope into central and southern Wyoming and into portions of eastern Colorado. Now, this heavier snow band, which is showing up with this storm, is right now in central and southern Wyoming into western Nebraska, kind of shadowing the Front Range of Colorado a bit. But I will tell you, this axis of moisture could end up a little more north. It could end up a little more south than the models are showing it right here. But if this does transpire, this is a snow event that basically goes Sunday, New Year's Day Sunday, into the following Monday. And there'll be a fair amount of cold air coming in behind it. So you can see where there's going to be that potential right here for snowfall. And then this is another potential snowfall for Nebraska into Iowa, South Dakota, into Minnesota again. Then some snow out here in eastern Colorado and more into the mountains. So the pattern just keeps coming. This is the 10-day cumulative forecast for precipitation. And you can see it's just wet, wet, wet in the west coast areas into the interior west. This is fabulous January, late December, January moisture. You don't always get this time of year. So this is going to really be a big snowpack boost. And one thing, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, but I want to bring it up for folks who are still listening. We are going to have avalanche problems with the significant heavy snow and these fluctuating temperatures from Arctic conditions to more of a Pacific pattern. The snow characteristics change on the snow on the ground. Can get crusty, and then you get heavy snow on top of that crusty layer, which is a slick layer. So throughout all of the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest, for you backcountry folks, snowmobilers, and for you backcountry skiers, you're going to, in the next couple of weeks, really need to heighten your awareness of avalanche danger in this region. I can guarantee that between now and the middle of January, avalanches are going to be a concern throughout the entire West. A quick La Nina update. Just wanted to show you how the difference is between where we are now and where we were a year ago with La Nina. La Nina definitely showing signs of fading. This is from this past Christmas weekend. You can still see La Nina still here, but you don't see the blue, and the green is extensive, and there's little chinks in the armor, these little warmer pockets beginning to show up here on the eastern side of the Pacific. And also notice this big warm pool, warmer meaning the temperature anomaly is a little bit warmer than the 30-year average. It doesn't mean those are warm water temperatures, far from it. But look at where we were a year ago at this time. The La Nina was much, much more robust going into the new year than it is now. And look at the cold pool up here in the Gulf of Alaska, the northern Pacific. Very different now here. Very different, especially in the North Pacific compared to a year ago. This is a big reason why this December is tracking along much differently than a year ago. So lots to talk about, lots to watch. We'll update you tomorrow.